work, sexy, I work, look at him, I work, girl, look at him, I work, I work out, I work, girl, look at him, fly, girls be looking like, I work, fly, sexy, I work, animal, fly, that's how I roll, I work out, I work, girl, look at him, now it, fly, girls be looking like, I work, now it, fly, sexy, I work, animal, now it, fly, that's how I roll, I work, now it, I work out, now it, girl, look at him, now it, fly, now girls be looking like, now it, I work, now it, fly, sexy, now it, animal, now it, fly, that's how I roll, now it, I work out, now it, girl, look at him, now it, fly, now girls be looking like, now it, I work, walking on the now it, fly, now sexy, now it, animal, now it, fly, that's how I roll, now it, I work out, now it, girl, look at him, now it, fly, now girls be looking like, now it, I work, walking on the now it, fly, now sexy, now it, animal, now it, fly, that's how I roll, now it, I work out, now it, girl, look at him, now it, fly, now girls be looking like, now it, I work, walking on the now it, fly, now sexy, now it, animal, now it, fly, that's how I roll, now it, I work out, now it, girl, look at him, now it, girls be looking like, now it, I work, walking on the now sexy, now it, animal, now it, that's how I roll, now it, I work out, now it, girl, look at him, now it, girls be looking like, now it, I work, walking on the now sexy, now it, animal, now it, that's how I roll, now it, I work out, now it, I work out, sexy, and I sexy.
Taxes and attending Landsrat meetings. He straightened his magenta cape, preened in front of a mirror. I depend on those people out there to produce the most that Caladan can provide. They must do so willingly with hard work, and not just for their own profit, but for their honor and glory. If House Atreides was ever to go to war again, these people would shed their blood for me. They would lay down their lives under our banner. He fiddled with his armor. Tighten this for me. Leto grabbed the string fasteners of the black leather plate, tugged them, and cinched the knots tight. He kept silent, but nodded to show he understood. As their duke, I need to give them something back, prove that I'm worthy. And it's not just for entertainment, but to instill in their minds that I'm a man of grand stature, of heroic proportions, someone blessed by God to rule them. I can't do that unless I put myself before them. Leadership is not a passive process. Paulus checked his shield belt, then smiled through his beard. "No one is too old to learn," he quoted. That's a line from the Agamemnon play, just to show that I'm not always sleeping when I appear to be. Thufir Hawat, the stern-faced weapons master, stood beside his duke. As a loyal mentat, Hawat would not speak out against his superior's decisions. Instead, he gave the best advice he could, whispering to Paulus the patterns he had seen in the movements of this new batch of mutated Seleucid bulls. Leto knew his mother would be up in the stands in the ducal spectator box. She would be dressed in her finery, wearing colorful gauzy veils and robes, playing her part, waving to the people. The night before, once again, there had been much heated discussion behind the bedroom doors. Finally, Duke Paulus had simply silenced her with a barked command. Afterward, he had gone to sleep, resting for the following day's exertions. The Duke put on his green-bordered cap, then took the equipment he would need to conquer the wild bull. his poniards, and a long, feathered vara with nerve toxin on the lance tip. Thufir Hawat had suggested that the stable-master slightly tranquilize the bull to deaden its rampaging impulses. But the Duke was a man who loved to face a challenge. No drug-dulled opponent for him. Paulus clipped the activation pack onto his shield belt and powered up the field. It was only a half-shield, used to guard his side. The Duke used a garishly brilliant cape called a muleta to cover his other side. Paulus bowed first to his son, then his mentat, and then the trainers waiting at the entrance to the arena. Time for the show to begin. Leto watched him swirl about, and, like a bird on a mating display, strut out into the open Plaza de Toros. At his appearance, cheers thundered out with a roar far louder than any Seleucian bull's. Leto stood behind the barricade, blinking into the glare of the open sun. He smiled as his father made a slow circuit of the arena, waving his cape, bowing, greeting his ecstatic people. Leto could sense the love and admiration they had for this brave man, and it warmed his heart. Waiting there in the shadows, Leto vowed to do all he could to study his father's triumphs, so that one day he would command such respect and devotion from the people. Triumphs. This would be another in a long list of them for his father, Leto assured himself. But he couldn't help worrying. Too much could change in the flicker of a shield, the flash of a sharp horn, the stamp of a hoof. Tones sounded, and an announcer's voice gave introductory details of the impending Corrida de Toros. With a flourish of a sequined glove, Duke Paulus gestured toward the broad reinforced doors on the opposite side of the arena. Moving to another archway for a better view, Leto reminded himself that this would be no sham performance. His father would be battling for his very life. Stable boys had been tending the ferocious beasts, and stable-master Iresk had personally selected one for the day's corrida. After inspecting the animal, the old duke had been satisfied, certain the crowd would be equally pleased by its ferocity. He looked forward to the fight. Heavy gates opened with a grinding of suspensor hinges, and the Seleucian bull charged out, shaking its massive, multiple-horned head in the dazzling light. Its faceted eyes glittered with feral rage. The scales on the mutated creature's back reflected iridescent colors from its black hide. Duke Paulus whistled and waved his cape. "Over here, stupid!" The spectators laughed. Turning toward him, the bull lowered its head with a loud, bubbling snort. Leto noticed that his father hadn't yet switched on his protective shield. Instead, Paulus snapped and fluttered his colorful cape, trying to draw the wrath of the beast. The Seleucian bull pawed and snorted on the sandy arena floor, then charged. Leto wanted to cry out, to warn his father. Had the man simply forgotten to switch on his protection? How could he possibly survive without a shield? But the bull thundered past, and Paulus swept his cape gracefully to one side, letting the creature strike the diversionary target. Its hooked horns shredded the bottom of the fabric into ragged frays. While it was coming about, the old duke turned his back to the bull, exposed and overconfident. He bowed mockingly toward the crowd before he stood straight, then calmly, patiently, flicked on his personal shield. The bull attacked again, and now the duke used his poniard to toy with it, pricking through its thick scale